Hey everyone, BeatScribe here. Today we're going to take a look at the BSR1. I'm going to just give you a walkthrough of how it works and what you do with it. BSR1 is kind of like an Ableton Push for your Game Boy. You can assign short musical notes or segments to the different buttons, and you can play them real time while a track or a drum beat plays in the background. You can even sync it with a little sound DJ and use it with that to get even more channels and more things happening. So we're going to take a look at the basics of it today. What you're looking at here is the live screen. These tabs tell you the screen you're on at the top: live, edit, save, and config. The live screen is what you use for performance. It lets you play beats, queue up new beats, play what we call samples. And we're going to just give you a little example right out of the box. You'll see each button has a little box that tells you what samples assigned. So for example, when I push the A button, it's going to play this bell sound in the key of C. The right arrow plays a bell in the G. And you can just kind of riff with these as you play. So you can use it just like that. You can use it to play with other people playing live, things like that. Or you can use the beats that come with it to help you kind of like make a song. So you'll see here you have banks and beats. We'll come back to beats in a minute. Banks basically tell you what samples you have here. If you push select and left to right, you can switch banks. So now I've changed, you see that the names of the samples changed and they play different things now. Some commands that you can assign here, some samples aren't really samples, but you see this one that says MUT2. It will mute the duty channel 2, so I can play this. And when I hit down and B held, it stops it. So that lets you kind of chop and change samples in real time, which is pretty handy. Again, whenever you press B, you're going to get those samples that are on with the gray line. The top and bottom ones will play instead of the ones that are underneath it. So that allows you to play so many different samples just in one bank. Beats work kind of similarly. To start a beat, you just press start. And you can press start again to stop it. To change beats, you hold down B and press start, and it will tell you the beat you're on down here. If you have the pro version, you can change the names of those defaults to be the names of your songs, so you know which one you're selecting. I'm going to go back to beat 1. If you have the cart or the regular version, basically each beat and each bank are sort of set up by default to go together. So this song that I'm going to play is a French house style song, and it's in the key of C, so my notes are set up to sound good. So I'm just going to give you a little example of, if you set it up right, you can play a song and just make up something on the fly. I didn't really plan this, but you'll see it kind of almost doesn't matter what buttons I push because they're set up so that they all sort of work together. So we're going to play the beat. So just kind of randomly riffing with things there, and it sounds pretty good because it's set up so that all the notes kind of work in the scale of the song. And there's 30 beats and there's only 9 banks, so not every beat comes with a bank setup, but as you play with them, you'll see how to do it. So that's kind of the basics of how you could use it. You can also play a beat and queue up another beat, so like as you come to the end of the song, you can get the next song ready. You press start to play a beat, and then if you push B and start, you can change beats. And it won't start playing when you change the beat, but when you press start again, it will start it. So I'm going to start this beat and then change to a new one. So you can see that allows you to change things on the fly. You can also change banks on the fly even while the song is going. There's a split-second delay, so you want to set your songs up to have a little break if you're going to change banks. But if you set it up right, you'll see like I'm playing bank 1. I can hit select left or right. Now I'm in bank 2. can do stuff like that. So that's all pretty cool, but also pretty basic. Maybe you're thinking, well, what else can I do with this? Or what if I want to try different things in the banks? So when you go to the Edit tab, you can edit all of this stuff. If you have the Pro version, you can even load your own songs in so that each beat will play a custom Huge Tracker UGE song that you've made. And in the Edit tab, you can do a little more to set up how the banks are. So to change tabs, you press Select and Start together. Whenever you make changes and leave a tab, it will save, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Let's say I want to change this and make Bank 2 have, I want to show you some of the different effects, the mixing effects. So not only can you play samples like these, but you can also use special mixing effects that let you change the stereo of specific channels, let you mute things. So real time, you can kind of like mix the song. So I'm going to set up for that. It's good to think about what you want where. The A button is the easiest to hit, especially in between other buttons. So I'm going to make that a kind of a reset of my stereo. If you hold down B on this screen as you go through the banks, it will jump to each section of type. So right now I'm looking at voice samples. If I push B and again, these are major chords, minor chords. Now the set one is the ones that set the stereo and do things like that. If you see this little question mark here, you can press A and it will tell you a little example. It tells you what sample you've selected does or what it is. So this helps you figure it out since it's not very clear in those small letters. So for example, I want this one to put everything back to normal. So as you can see, I go through these mixer settings and there's reset all stereo to center. So I'm going to be messing with stereo with the D-pad, and then I press A to stop that and put it back to normal. So then I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to set up my main D-pad sample notes. I'm going to go to the set again. And let's see, we're going to put everything to the left channel. If I press, let's do left, that makes more sense, right? Everything to the left channel, so that's the one down here that says set all channels left, and then right, all channels right. There it is. So now we have that set up, and maybe we'll make down will be a short mute. So there's a group called mute, M-U-T, mute duty 1, mute duty 2, mute all, except wave. And there's the L is for long, and then there's also a shorter one. So that's been fixed, but it says longer, but I use the shorter one there. So now let's try that out. If you press start to go back to the main tab. And I'm going to make sure I'm on bank 2. I'm going to go back to beat 1. So let's try it out. We're in bank 2. Stereo goes left. Stereo goes right. Reset it. You can hear the mute. The mute is just for a second, so if I hit it a bunch, here it's working. So just little things you can do to affect it. As you can hear, the wave is not affected by this, so the wave stays sort of like this. But you can see you can do a lot with the song like that. So that covers most of the basics, but there's one other thing that's cool. You notice it says SEQ up here. What if you want to play something really fast where you couldn't possibly hit these buttons fast enough in the order, or you have to play like 10 different notes to play a solo, and there isn't 10 keys here you can press. You can't switch banks fast enough either, so that's not an option. Sequence mode is a special way of using the banks where it will play a whole sequence of notes in a way that is that lets you play really fast and act kind of like you have a pre-made sequence. It's hard to explain. The best way to see it is just to see it go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the Edit tab, And what I would do is, in a sequence mode, I want to plan for bank 1 to be set up for what I want to play in a solo. Now, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do all that because it takes a while. But to show you how you might do it, a little trick that you can use. Sometimes you want to hear the music playing to make sure that you're picking the right notes. If you push start to play a beat, and then press select and start to go to the edit tab, the music will keep playing. And then you can figure out what notes work. You kind of hear like C is good, right? Figure out what works for you. So, to save some time here, what I've done is I've already loaded up another song with a good sequence. If you push start and tab again from edit, it takes you to save, which is pretty self-explanatory. The song you're on auto saves. That's song 1 right now. You can copy it to a different one, or you can load one. I'm going to load song 2, which I already set up a sequence in just to save some time. Not really much to it there. So now you'll see my bank is set up where I have all these bells kind of set up here. And let's just to show you what it sounds like. Going back to the live tab. Now, sequence mode is complicated because once you turn it on, things change. When you turn it on, these labels no longer apply. The only thing that matters anymore is if you push B, it starts the sequence over, and any other button will play the next note in the sequence. When you push B, it will play the first note in the sequence too. So you have to take that into consideration. To go into sequence mode, you hold B and push select. You'll see that lights up there. To leave it, you have to push B and select too. Now notice that it will always play one last note when you press B. So you have to take that into consideration. So let's hear what I made first. Go into sequence here. Now when I push B, every time I push B, a sequence starts over. First sample, second sample, third sample, fourth, fifth, sixth. If I keep pushing B, it just keeps playing the first one. So maybe I want to do something like this. You hear how I can play really fast, and it doesn't matter, I can push the same 2 notes. You can also do something where you start it over as if it's a sample, so I could go like... something like that. It's easier to do with a beat. Now you'll see how it works with a beat. Now when you want to leave sequence mode again, you got to press B and select, and it will play that last note. So you have to kind of plan it, you have to think it through, but it's very powerful and lets you do a lot of fast stuff. A cool trick to use is because maybe you want to reset the sequence without something playing so you can prepare. You can set the first note to be mute 2. Mute 2, so this way, now when I'm playing a sequence mode, B and select goes to sequence. Now B doesn't do anything, so it just resets. So that can be really handy to allow you, and you can also turn it off without playing a note that way too. So that's basics of how it works. You can get pretty creative. You can actually use all the banks with sequence. It will go all the way through from bank 1 to bank 9 if you want to set up something like that. It can be a little tedious, but it lets you do some really cool stuff. Lastly, we're just going to look at the config tab, which just has some little options. All the songs that come with it, most of them have bass lines. You can choose to turn this off if you want. If you turn it off, you'll hear now I'm going to go back to play that first song again. Now it's just going to be a beat. So maybe you just want to use this like a drum machine, or you want to do your own thing over top of it. You don't have to have the bass. Start and select start takes us back over there. There's also some different UI themes. UI theme basically is the bottom half of the screen. You can set up different things, see what you like. If you're on a color Game Boy, there's some different themes you can put. And then there's also graphics, which are the top. And the graphics have some special animation things that happen that go on beat. You can look in the manual to see how you do that. But basically, once you set it up, I'm going to play right here and you'll see. The animations actually go on beat with what you're doing. So it's kind of cool looking. You can see if I change it to a different beat. You can see it change there too. So that's basically how it all works. You can also sync it with LSDJ. It's not perfect, unfortunately, because Little Sound DJ uses a different style of tick. The value of a tick is different, but you can look in the manual to see how to do that. You will be able to put any huge tracker tempo and match it with a Little Sound DJ tempo, but you probably want to design the Little Sound DJ song around it because you'll have to change the groove template. But that's a topic for another video. Hopefully this helps you use it, and hopefully you enjoy it. Make some cool tunes.